all started with Hamlet and summer camp. I was in middle school at the time, and as my family would later say, that summer, the acting bug bit me. It was a performing arts camp, and there I spent more time than your average 12-year-old dissecting what to be or not to be really meant, and that was only the beginning. I can't count the Shakespearean monologues that I memorized in my room or the number of times that my friends and I would burst into show tunes for no apparent reason. From that summer until my high school graduation, I was a theater kid. The appeal of theater was the stories that we told and the depth of our characters. For every nameless ensemble member that I played, I gave them a backstory, a reason for why they were there, and the feelings behind what they did. Now, during my time in theater, and even to this day, I've had a recurring dream. Maybe you've had one too. In this dream, it's a busy day, and everyone is buzzing with energy. I can tell that an important show is about to begin, and that I have a big line to deliver. In this dream, I am equal parts thrilled and terrified because I realize I have no idea what this show is, and I don't know what my line is either. Sometimes in this dream, I'm frantically searching behind the scene, trying to figure out what it is I'm supposed to say or do. And other times, I'm simply confronted with a faceless audience, and I stand there, mute. Now, I always wake in a panic, and I'm relieved that those missing words are gone with my dream. This is not a unique fear, and it's not one exclusive to actors. We all want to have our scripts and our action plans. We want to be prepared for any scenario that life might throw at us. Flashing forward to when I started medical school, I thought that theater was behind me. It was a hobby that I used to have. Now, I was a scientist. All I had to do was figure out how the body works, memorize scientific facts, and stay up to date with the latest scientific discoveries. There was no time for art. Even the briefest lecture on humanities and medicine was seen as a distraction, keeping me from studying what really mattered, the Krebs cycle. Now, what I didn't realize before starting medical school is that students learn with actors. Instead of unleashing novice students on unsuspecting patients, medical schools have adopted what is called simulation-based medical education. What this means is that throughout all 4 years of medical school, students are learning medical interviews and physical exam skills with standardized patient actors. These are dedicated individuals that the school hires and trains to teach us those important clinical skills. And they bring these cases to life and embody their patient's history. They do all this while teaching us how to palpate the abdomen and how to build trust in a 15-minute interview. These cases can range from everything from how to diagnose the flu to breaking bad news to a stranger. And medical students sit for the first time with these actors in fake exam rooms and practice what are soon to be very real conversations. Playing the role of future physician, I learned how to ask, "What brings you in today?" and how to say, "I'm so sorry for this loss." Now, it didn't take long for me to see this connection between artificial environments and theater. My role was always the same, future physician, and my motivation was to solve the patient's problem. Now, to solve the patient's problem. And the other characters, they always rotated through, and they were different and intriguing, not only because of their constellation of symptoms. Each case was based off a real person's story, and it was modeled to teach me something about medicine. It was also during medical school that I learned about how prevalent human trafficking is and how frequently trafficked persons encounter our healthcare systems. Studies have estimated that between 28 and 88% of trafficked persons will have an encounter with a healthcare professional while being trafficked. What's more is that many healthcare professionals report no training on how to address trafficking or treat patients. Not unlike my bad dream, they're not sure of what line comes next. They don't have a script for how this encounter should go, how to best help the man, woman, or child sitting in front of them. Here was our opportunity to take our stage and to teach those future physicians the scripts, or at least how the scene might play out so that they would know what to do in the future. We had all of the tools to teach our future physicians about human trafficking, All we had to do was to create the show. The case is to be based off of authentic stories, those real experiences from hospital emergency rooms and clinics. I sat down with survivors and anti-trafficking advocates to retrace those moments from when healthcare providers either helped or hurt their patients. As I was asking, how could our future physicians improve their care? Using those stories, I was able to write a script. As with any form of theater, there were costumes, the same clothes that you or I might wear on a day off from work, and there's makeup of tattoos that they branded our patients as property. And there were props. The same cell phone that you or I might bring to pass the time linked our patient to their trafficker waiting outside. Our actors had coaching. We gave them direction about what information they might share with a nurse or physician and what was off limits. Now, I want to give you a spoiler. In this scene, there are no miraculous happy endings. Like many true cases of trafficking, our patient wasn't able to leave the trafficker safely, at least not at this moment. Our students were never meant to be cast as a knight in shining armor. We wanted to give them the tools to empower their patient, not to rescue. So, with all these details in place, it was showtime. Without knowing what the scene was, our third-year medical students entered the room and assessed the scene. Standing behind a two-way mirror, I was able to observe the same case unfold over 100 times. Some students latched on right away that there was something more to this case than their patient was letting on, and others breezed right through the interview. They never sensed that anything was amiss. Each student left the room after their interview was completed, and they learned about the true nature of the case, as well as what resources were available to their patient. We taught them about the thousands of trafficking cases that are reported every year in the United States, as well as what they could do in the future. Even though students knew that this was not a real case, they were moved and transported by this narrative. This case asked them to use empathy to connect with their patient and to build trust. It also presented them with a patient problem that was not solvable, at least not at that moment. Several students left the rooms with tears in their eyes. They were truly moved by this narrative. One student told me through tears, "I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know what to say or do." Looking into her face, I saw that my bad dream had come to life. She was filled with fear and uncertainty. She didn't know how to help her patient. The students, they hadn't mastered their lines. They weren't sure how to build that connection. Many survivors of trafficking feel similar fear. They're not sure of what parts of their story they can share without judgment. They too are standing on a stage, uncertain of what line comes next. This training was to give their healthcare providers that chance to recognize those signs of trafficking and to respond with empathy and build that connection. I wanted them to be empowered. In writing the case, I wanted students to confront those uncomfortable emotions, to build confidence in their ability to handle similar precarious encounters with future real patients. Years after completing this lesson, students continued to remark on this case. Because of the emotion behind the narrative, students are remembering those facts, and the information behind trafficking is not fading into the blur of medical didactic information. Working behind the scenes, I realized two things. The first is that medicine is not a series of problems to be solved. Each patient we see has a history and has depth to their character, regardless for the reason that they're coming in. Whether they're here to see me for the flu or they're having a life-threatening injury, each person has a story and depth to their character. There are no nameless ensemble members here. Every person is unique, and their history is evolving and intricate. The second realization is that when I stopped seeing patients as problems, I felt re-energized. Seeing that each person has a story that's waiting to be told and the art in that has helped me to fight burnout. Since working in our simulation center, I have felt more motivated to volunteer and engage with patients. I found that there's humanity even in our most routine and ordinary encounters. Now, some might say that art is a form of therapy. It is a treatment to complement pharmacological remedies and to improve patient well-being. Watching these students and actors work together, I saw that art can be that and so much more. It can be a teaching tool to make us better scientists and clinicians. This combination of art and science, it's not exclusive to medicine either. It can be expanded to other fields and inform even our most analytical and logical endeavors. Returning to the example of human trafficking, right here in Tampa Bay, there is work being done that melds together art and science. In the University of South Florida College of Public Health, we have Dr. Massis, who is building together an advocacy team against human trafficking. He's pulling in experts from law, epidemiology, medicine. And at the core of this team, there's an artist in residence. This artist is going to be responsible for creating a work that encapsulates the challenges and successes of anti-trafficking advocacy. Now, this work of art, it's not just to be admired, but it's going to be used to guide and inform their fight, to find further solutions. We can apply art as a collaborative and guiding force for more than just trafficking. It can be used to fight gun violence, to address the opioid epidemic, even to work on global warming. To win any fight, we cannot work in silos, pretending that we're going to win with only cold, hard facts. Art is an integral part for any solution. It joins diverse fields, it broadens our thinking, and it invigorates our effort. Art is what builds human connection. When we let art inform our teaching, those lessons of empathy and complex social skills last longer. Now, I might not return to a life on the stage, and you might not find yourself as a student doctor, but we can all embrace this intersection between art and science. Thank you.